world of the campus vets.
He was hit with such a spray of bullets that he's just got multiple shots to the abdomen.
It's pretty hard to restrain them to actually listen to their heart or their lungs or to feel anything on them.
I'm scared that they're going to come back and see that it's inconclusive and they're not going to know.
At the Western College of Veterinary Medicine, students learn to save the lives of animals in distress. In the small animal clinic, a dog has been admitted with shotgun wounds all over his body.
Hunter went missing on Monday night and was found yesterday afternoon flat out in his yard and looking really bad.
Student Alexandra Greenwood realizes the extent of the dog's injuries when she sees his x-rays.
Okay, but what you can see are all of these white dots. These are all pieces of metal.
Hunter even has a pellet lodged in his foot. Dennis Van Conant and his daughter Danielle are stunned and angry that someone would shoot their dog.
I'm still kind of pretty mad about that, but it's frustrating. Something like this is just done to just either injure or maim something. You know, and if it dies in the effect, they just don't care.
Very sad.
Yeah, pretty sad.
I'm losing your hair.
Hoppy the mouse was originally a feeder mouse, destined to be dinner for a snake. Then J.C. Mess adopted him from a local pet shop.
I've always wanted a mouse since I was young. She's a very happy mouse, even though she's quite sick. About a month and a half ago, I noticed that it looked like she had a cut on her ear, so I thought I'd let it heal. But it's gotten worse and it spread to both ears.
Hi, cutie patootie. Oh, she's adorable. Oh, so her ears look a little raw. And have you actually seen her itch her ears at all?
Oh yeah, she scratches often.
Exotics resident Dr. Alana Shrubsole wants to do a physical exam on Hoppy, but Hoppy is not cooperating.
Oh, perfect.
That works just fine.
Look over there.
1-year-old Shay has been sick every day of her young life.
In the last 11 months, we've spent over $2,400 on her. And
Hi, is this Shay?
yes, it is.
Owners Katrina Benson and Josh Peterson are anxious for answers. Their family vet couldn't figure out what's making Shay so ill.
Our concern is that ever since we've had her, her breathing has been very labored.
Okay.
They've done so many tests and not really known why she's constantly getting sick.
Student Patrick Garcia finds a high white blood cell count in Shay's case file, often a sign of infection.
A case like this can be a real challenge because you know it's already been seen by at least one veterinarian and they weren't able to fully figure out what's going on. So as a student early on in your career, it's a little bit intimidating.
Staff veterinarian Dr. Ken Cockwell is alarmed by Shay's heavy breathing.
The respiratory rate's 180, and I would normally like it to be around 30.
Shay's heart and lungs sound fine. The problem seems higher up.
I thought that the lymph nodes under here seemed big on both sides.
The lymph nodes act as a filter for harmful substances like cancer cells and viruses that cause disease. They will prove to be instrumental in unraveling the mystery of Shay's condition. The vets will use ultrasound to examine Hunter's shotgun wounds.
Hole, yes.
There's another one just under the skin somewhere around here. Oh, right here.
Student Alexandra Greenwood points out the entry wounds to Dr. Chuck Farrow from medical imaging.
Oh, what's that?
When they reach the dog's belly, a dramatic discovery.
It's called an intussusception. It's when you have one portion of gut that actually telescopes into another portion of gut.
There's a possibility one of the pellets may have damaged the dog's intestines. It's so inflamed, it's cutting off the blood supply to the bowels. Hunter needs emergency surgery or he won't survive.
She's a frisky little thing.
Dr. Shrubsole is struggling to do a physical on a rambunctious rodent named Hoppy.
It's pretty hard to restrain them to actually listen to their heart or their lungs or to feel anything on them. Her heart sounds okay right now. It's going pretty fast, and that's just because she's quite stressed.
An infection is attacking both of Hoppy's ears and is spreading to her face.
It could have started out where initially maybe she just scratched herself and then it got infected secondarily by a bacteria, and so it's just going to kind of snowball the effect. So it's itchy, she's going to scratch, it's going to get worse, it's not going to heal. We can give her some antibiotics, see how she responds. We should see a difference in about a week's time. Okay. And I'll put in a prescription for a pain medicine too.
A biopsy could pinpoint whether the infection is due to parasites, fungus, or bacteria. But that would require general anesthesia. JC is not ready to go there yet. I'm
going to try those antibiotics, and I'm really hoping they'll work, because I don't want to put her through any more stress or anything. She may only be a $2 mouse, but I'll spend any money on her. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, no problem. She's very cute.
The veterinary team works to uncover the mystery of Shay's ongoing illness.
I would say at this point, we can't give her a prognosis. And can we guarantee her an answer? No, we can do all this testing, and unfortunately, we can not be any further along.
Hi.
We're a little bit confused right now. We're not 100% sure what's going on.
Katrina agrees to keep Shay at the clinic for further testing, but a year of waiting for answers is taking its toll.
I want to start crying. I don't know, I just hope that they find something. And I'm scared that they're going to come back and see that it's inconclusive and they're not going to know.
Hunter's body is riddled with pellets after the dog was shot.
And that's one of the little pellets.
Surgical resident Dr. Lori McDougall searches for evidence that the pellets damaged the dog's intestines.
And it very well could have lost its blood supply if it got nicked with a bullet going past it. And that was enough to cause the inflammation and cause the intestine to telescope in.
The healthy intestine has burrowed its way into the inflamed section, forming a block.
So this whole dilated sausage of intestine has another tunneled intestine through it, so it's actually got kind of 3 layers in one.
It's called intussusception, something student Alexandra Greenwood has never seen before.
I just think it's really interesting what's happened in this case.
Dr. McDougall removes the blocked portion and sutures the healthy intestines back together.
This is where we took out the piece of intestine.
The surgery is done, but it will take a few days before they know whether it is a success.
We found the intussusception and we resected it. It all looks like it went well. So I'd be really happy if he did well and recovered well from this.
So would his owners Dennis and his daughter Danielle, who come by for an update on the surgery.
We got him as a pup, and well, he's like another part of the family. I guess it's like kind of 3 days. We're gonna do what we can to save him.
Shay is one sick cat. The feline is undergoing a long list of tests to determine what is causing frequent fevers and labored breathing.
What we're doing right now is just taking samples from some of the lymph nodes that are definitely enlarged, and Dr. Miles will take a look at those samples under the microscope.
I think, Ken, what this is telling us is that we're probably dealing with a reactive node.
Okay.
And you might have to take it out and look at it histologically to see if it's a tumor.
Okay.
Removing one of the lymph nodes is an option, In the meantime, they use ultrasound to check over the cat's chest and abdomen.
Can't find anything wrong. A small victory, huh?
So far, everything's come up negative, which is great for the cat, but a little bit frustrating for us.
Might help if we do an endoscopic exam of her nasal cavity, trying to see if there is any obstructions or anything that shouldn't be there.
I feel like I'm walking out of here tonight with no answers.
Chili, a 20-year-old former racehorse, is living with a form of cancer that often kills humans.
Although people hear the term melanoma in humans and are obviously very concerned about that, older grey horses are very prone to getting melanomas. And the melanomas, in most cases, don't really cause the horse much in the way of problems. But in the occasional animal, the tumours can spread to other areas. But you can see all of these lumps and bumps here are tumorous, and they're very, very hard to the touch.
Faculty veterinarian Dr. Chris Clark fears Chili's extensive external tumors might have spread internally.
You can start to see that there's swelling here and also under here.
Chili's neck swelling came on suddenly overnight.
In some cases, a melanoma may get so big that it starts to press on something, and in some cases, the melanoma may spread throughout the body.
Once melanoma spreads internally, it can be aggressive and deadly.
It's actually a very natural way to hold it.
Dr. Clark and a group of students prepared a search for internal tumors.
What we're going to do is use an endoscope, which is like a flexible telescope, and we're going to pass that up the horse's nostril, and we can actually examine all of her airway visually and see what's going on in there. This here is the soft palate.
If the disease has spread internally, there is little the veterinary team can do to save Chili's life.
Hi, Hunter. Are you hungry?
Hunter is recovering well from the surgery on his bowels.
I was so worried that he wasn't going to do okay, and then when he started getting better, it just made me feel so much better.
But Alexandra's relief is short-lived. The next day, a major relapse.
This morning, he started to spike a fever. So we took him to ultrasound, and he looked like he had some fluid in his abdomen.
Something is leaking into the dog's belly. Faculty surgeon Dr. Catherine Lynn injects a fluorescent liquid into the intestine.
And it's a way that I can check for leakage, because if I see yellow leaking out, then I know that that's not just abdominal fluid, it's a problem.
Coming up, a breakthrough in the case of the sick cat.
It's pretty rewarding to actually be able to finally find something, and maybe this will give us part of the answers.
It's day 2 of extensive testing on 1-year-old Shay. The veterinary team hopes to determine what's causing her rapid breathing and swollen lymph nodes.
So one of the things that we can do is an endoscopic exam, which will allow us to biopsy abnormal tissue we find there. The endoscope is an imaging tool that resembles a camera on the end of a tube.
The scope is barely inserted when the first glimmer of an answer in this puzzling case is revealed.
It does look like a large portion of the nasopharynx was obstructed by tissue.
They remove part of the excess tissue to be sent for analysis.
It's pretty rewarding to actually be able to finally find something, and maybe this will give us part of the answers.
While the excess tissue could be interfering with Shay's breathing, it might not explain what's causing the swollen lymph nodes.
We're just going to take out one of the lymph nodes for a biopsy.
We think that it's important enough to take the whole thing out, and then we can look at the structure of that lymph node. The cat will be able to do without it. We think that this is probably one of the most important diagnostic tests.
The results of the 2 biopsies will be compared in the search for answers. Shay's owner, Katrina, is waiting for answers too.
So I'm really anxious. We're hoping to get on a path to getting Shay better.
So we're now on the left side of the horse, which is where we know the swelling is worse. So we certainly got all of the
Faculty veterinarian Dr. Chris Clark and his class of students are trying to determine why an old gray mare named Chili is so sick.
So there we go, that's the probe in the pouch now.
As soon as the fiber optic camera reaches the site of Chili's swollen neck, the problem becomes clear.
So you can see these lumps and bumps that are black all over this area. And what we can see is that we've certainly got melanoma here invading into the guttural pouch. It is serious, unfortunately. I mean, this tumour is so infiltrative and so tied into the tissues here, we're not going to be able to surgically remove it. And she's an older horse. You do have to start looking at this with a view to what is best for the horse. And if the horse is starting to suffer and we don't have a therapeutic option for her, one of the things we may have to talk to the owner about is putting the horse to sleep. The concern is that she does seem a little bit more depressed than normal. I mean, if this horse only has a few weeks or months left, wouldn't it be better that it spends its time, you know, at home in a pasture rather than having general anesthetics and being put through a number of different procedures?
Chili has been put on anti-inflammatory drugs. They'll help reduce the swelling caused by the pressure of the tumor. Now she waits for what may be her final visit with her owner of 16 years. Student Alexandra Greenwood is crossing her fingers for Hunter, the dog with gunshot wounds. For the second time in a week, the surgeons are fighting to repair the damage caused by the pellets.
You're anxious. You're hoping that they're not going to find something really bad.
Faculty surgeon Dr. Lin injects yellow dye to help spot any leaks in the dog's intestines. They find one and suture it closed.
No more leak. I think we're good.
He has this family that just seems to care about him so much, and that makes you want it to end up happily so much more.
After being poked and prodded for days, Shay is finally going home.
Right after the operation, as she was recovering, you could tell that already she was a lot quieter, and her respiration rate dropped right down, almost into the normal range. That's quite a dramatic change, and I wasn't really expecting that.
Student Patrick Garcia is still waiting for Shay's test results.
Bottom line is, we're still not 100% sure what is going on with her. Right now, she is breathing a lot more easily than she did. So we suspect that taking that lymph node out, and it was quite enlarged, that probably may have decreased the obstruction in her airway and really helps out a little bit. So keep our fingers crossed that she'll stay like this and that the test will tell us something.
I feel good right now. Like, I haven't seen her this perky in quite a while. We're not really walking out of here with too many definitive answers. At least we're walking out with a cat who's breathing a little better.
But the lab results from the biopsies could change everything.
There may be something else going on, and that could be an indication of perhaps a serious disease, such as lymphoma.
Coming up, Hunter's remarkable turnaround.
It has been up and down, but I think we're going to have a happy ending now.
20-year-old Chili was diagnosed with inoperable melanoma. She's been given anti-inflammatory drugs to ease her suffering.
Hi, Chili. Hi, sweetie. I'm here to see my horse, Chili.
Owner Sally Moore knows these halls well. She graduated from the college a few years ago and is now a practicing veterinarian a plane's ride away.
I've just grown up with her, and she's always been there, you know, for me, and she's just really sweet temperament. I trust her.
When Sally left, Chili was too old to be uprooted and stayed on with a friend.
I was a little bit worried that I might not be able to get here and see her and spend some time with her, so I happened to have a few days off, and it wasn't even a question. You know, I just wanted to come out here and be with her. But she just relaxes and falls to sleep when I do this. That's her special place, eh?
There's no way of knowing how much longer Chili has to live, but Sally plans on flying back to visit as often as she can.
I get tears in my eyes every time I see her and think about her. She's very special.
Back at home, Shay's owners, Katrina and Josh, have finally received the answers they've been waiting for.
I was really, really surprised to get that phone call, and because it came out of the blue. It's nothing that we were expecting.
The vets have identified the illness that has plagued Shay her entire life. It's a rare and treatable infection called Bartonella.
It's a relief for them to have a name on what's wrong.
The infection should clear up with antibiotics.
We'd like to have her around for a really long time.
He's had 2 operations on his abdomen, 1 on his foot, all to fix the damage caused by gunshot wounds.
It has been up and down, but I think we're gonna have a happy ending now.
Come on, Hunter.
Hunter will need to be monitored as he recuperates, but he's well enough to go home to his family.
Goodness, Hunter, how are you?
Hey, Hunter. Oh, you're sure lucky. Hey. It's kind of like part of the family, so you kind of work your way through. Same as if kind of any one of us got sick, you know, you'd do the same thing. That's my feeling on it anyway.
I've always wanted a mouse since I was young. I don't like the wild mice. I'll just stick with my tame pet store mice. I like her because she's very energetic, but when you can hold her, she's very fun to just play around and let her crawl over your hands. And they're just adorable, and their squeaks are cute. And she was originally meant to be a feeder mouse for reptiles, but I guess I kind of saved her.